Hi, hubby.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
Good. How's it going?
Good.
Good. I have moments where I want to emphasize and get super close to the mic, but I can't do that because it will just blow out eardrums. I'm gonna get my script pulled up
Yeah.
here. So
Take your time.
tell me about your Spanish lesson. So you had another lesson, right?
Oh, geez. Yes. So I have them weekly, and Santiago is the young man's name. He's a college student. I think we talked about that on another episode. He is fantastic. And, babe, let me just tell you, it was a little hard. It was a little hard this time. There was some frustration.
The lesson was difficult.
Yes. So conjugation in the present, I don't have a problem with. We went over past. That was a rough one. That was a rough one. I'm still not there.
Like ninth grade, eighth grade Spanish is coming back to me a little bit.
And it does. When you decide to work with somebody, it will come back to you.
Yeah.
But it's not taught in the formal way. Like we're doing like just communication, like knowing how to ask for things, if you need to ask for a restroom, if you are going to the mercado, like all of these different things, to shop or whatever. It's really just conversation. I think we will have to be really immersed in it before we start.
So when you say past tense, would that be something like you were telling me a story about how you had to ask to
Correct.
go to the restroom?
Yep. Like last week, something that happened in the past.
Got it.
And then I still have future to go. It was a total fail last week in my eyes.
Do you think
he didn't think so?
Do you think past tense in Spanish? I know we're kind of biased because we speak English primarily, but do you think past tense in Spanish is more difficult to wrap your head around, or do you think English still just convolutes and just does so many illogical pieces to it?
It does. English is so illogical. It doesn't make sense how we've learned how to speak Spanish.
Yeah. Well, this week we're going to be talking a little bit about our company transitions, but not only just the companies themselves, but also like we've been working from home for a while. That's not new news.
Right. We like it.
We like it. Mm-hmm. And there are some things we're still getting used to, but for the most part, I think we have it down. But now we're looking at, okay, so we have to financially support ourselves.
Right.
We have a dog that is in our care. We have to financially support her.
Correct.
Traveling with her is more expensive. But when it comes to like the logistics of working, creating structure, having calendars, bringing on clients, having expectations, there's a lot to that, especially as you transition into, parts of the business that I've been doing, or we haven't been doing at all, but we're introducing.
Right.
Right. So,
a lot of learning on my end.
Talk a little bit about the digital transformation that you've been going through. Because for me, I've been doing the digital solutions for clients from my office for years. I've been doing that as long as I can remember.
How long? Pre-2016, I think.
Yeah, so that was the photo booth startup. Yeah. I've been doing websites and advertising and marketing
12
since 2010.
Okay. So that was 2 years previous before we dated the first time.
Right. So I was doing it just before I started at the massage school. And I started there July of 2010. So it might have been the beginning of that year.
So you have many years on me. Many, many.
But that also can be a hindrance because I might be an old bear set in his ways where there might be some new age practices that I may need to adopt.
Right. The tools that I'm learning about.
Right.
And what can really take, what did you say earlier, like a 7-hour process down to maybe a 1 or a 2.
And when it comes to that, then how many more clients can we onboard in their business scales, right?
And now you have additional help with Ever Studios, which can make a really
We've expanded our offerings, and you're contributing to some of those offerings that we otherwise wouldn't have had capacity to do, but also definitely would have been outside of the box that we were comfortable in, we being me.
It's also something I never had been interested. I was never interested in before. And when I'm not interested in something, it's usually because I don't understand it. And with all of the newer age tools and language, it's much easier for me to understand, where before it was things like coding and stuff. I have zero interest
Right.
in learning that tech side of things. But when it comes to SEO, blogging and things like that, like I really, really have found that I enjoy it a lot. I never
So
would
one
have
of the
thought
big
that.
things that you've uncovered in the vertical, the business that
Mhm.
I've been doing for ages, is SEO. And that SEO, search engine optimization, is not just about writing content, but
Right.
there's a structure, there's a formula, there is the right way to do it. Because back when SEO was just a basic piece, the number of websites was a fraction of what's out there now.
Mm,
And so now the challenge is showing up for the right people at the right time, but also because you're the right choice.
yes.
Where before there was such thing as ranking number one on Google, right? You could just keyword stuff and do all these practices and just show up. You would always show up. It's not the case. Google says, no, we're not just going to make you show up because you typed in a whole bunch of stuff and you think you should be. We're going to say, what's your reputation? How much time do people spend on your
Right.
website? All these variables that never existed before.
Which is what I've been learning.
Which means we now have to do better at that for our clients, but
Right.
also we have to bring on tools that we never had to use before. And you've been learning a lot about the tools and the platforms
And the
lately.
financial responsibility that we'll have along with this. What do we actually need? Are there free tools that we can get out there that do the same thing? It is a lot of learning on my part. I spend so much more time sitting at a computer now where I didn't before. And being able to manage my time,
We just got you a big old monitor.
a big monitor, which I won't be able to take that necessarily, when we're living in another country for
Yeah,
5
laptop
months.
living is different. Like even sitting here, we have just our laptops.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a difference of the office space with your comfortable monitor, and then there's the mobile,
Right.
the nomad life, nomad
So
digital life.
seeing where these differences are now, and hopefully in a year we will be ready. That's our plan anyway. And so we're working really hard to learn everything that we can learn, optimize Ever Studios, and then my blog, of course, and our Ever After Photo Booth company, which we have people in place now to do the sales.
Huge.
That's
Yeah, I
huge.
think we
That's a
talked a
big
little bit
win.
last week, but we were talking about interviewing a salesperson, onboarded,
He's
ready to go,
onboarded, ready to
and
go. He's working now.
he's working now.
Yes.
So that's going to be driving leads for Ever Studios for our website design and SEO,
Yeah.
essentially your reputation management company, that arm of what we
Right.
do.
So having the delegation, this is in the process happening right now, where you and I don't have to be here in order for the photo booth to run.
Correct. Yeah. So also the photo booth side, generating leads. So
Yes.
we had to do something we haven't had to do before, which is come up with a commission structure. And we have to come up with onboarding processes. So we
Mhm.
have to come up with training manuals. And these are things that we're putting in place
Now.
so that when we're gone for any set amount of time, be it a month, be it 5 months, or be it 12 months, our businesses still make us money and we still deliver excellence. So that's one of our
Absolutely.
core things is we not only are better with our practices, but we also are humans who care about the people we work with, and we want to just deliver exceptional experiences all around.
Yeah. And we want to make sure that we can do that when we're abroad.
And then also with platforms, so I now have to learn project management a bit better, where before all the projects were me. I just had to do it. But now that there's a division of labor between us, we have to figure out a way that we're always in sync communication wise. You know what's happening,
Sure.
I know what's happening, and that we hold each other accountable. So we've also transitioned a bit into that co-working space of working together.
Yell them through the wall.
We've been working, cohabiting
We have.
work, but we haven't worked
Cohabitating.
Yeah, but we haven't been working together on a like project together with our own duties. So
Yeah.
that's fresh for us as well. But the capacity that it's opened up with you learning this new arm of the business, we have a really good blueprint in place to do really well.
I'm excited. So the win last week was having our salesperson come on who is already, he's just boots on the ground, ready to go, energized. Like this is his jam.
Right.
Sales is his jam, where you and I, we can close it. We like warm stuff, but we're
Right.
not down with the cold stuff. So
and we set up a commission structure where he's going to handle all of
He's-
it. So
yeah.
cold leads all the way through closing.
That's
part of the structure.
you have been really the one to take control of that. I found him.
That's how it's kind of always been.
Yeah, I
Right?
find him, and you
build the relationships and meet the people, and then I
am good at
figure
that.
out how to make them fit and make them happy on the commission side. Yeah.
So,
but there's been some. It's not all ups. It's not all great.
I was getting ready to say, you just took the words out of my mouth.
There's been some challenges
around this?
In operations,
babe, I'm really interested to hear what your challenges are working with me.
In operations, we never say problems, right? In sales and marketing, we never say problems. We say they're areas of opportunity.
Areas of opportunity.
And there's challenges. And it's a delicate and lighthearted and positive spin to saying there's some negative pieces to it as well. So I'll
work on that.
What I say when
I'm old school. I still say issues and problems.
So what I say when I'm working with clients is I say, okay, so we know one of two things: what we need to pour fuel on, the good things, right? It's going really well, pour some fuel on it, or the areas of opportunity, things we need to revisit and then fix and resolve and make better, right? And eventually those turn into things that we want to pour fuel on. The reality is there have been some tough parts that we've been experiencing, especially over the last week. And a big part of it is
this week has been a little rough.
There's been a lot of aspects. There's been a lot of aspects to that contributing, but a big part of it is I'm not used to working with someone.
You don't say.
Working for somebody and working on behalf of somebody. I've been doing that forever. Working with somebody, co-working with somebody on the same project. It's not that I'm not capable of it. I'm definitely a team player, but I've always had my vertical and they've had their vertical. And you and we're figuring out what our verticals are. So there's been a lot of cross-contamination, if you will, that have been tough on us both, right?
Right. Not fighting. I don't think we've ever fought. It was more of, now wait a minute. kind of stuff. Just hear me out, and letting me explain my side of things. Or you were speaking in a language that I didn't understand, or vice versa. I learned better through videos. You learned better
by doing.
So I couldn't
let me break it so I know never to break it again.
Right. So that has been a little bit, I wouldn't even say a challenge for me, but an eye-opener of like, okay, so he learns differently than I do. How can we come together and look at SEO stuff, look at these different platforms and stuff like that? So, and I'm grateful that you're honest with me and you'll be like, you know what, give me some time with this. And then we'll come back around. We'll circle back and talk about it again or whatever. So that was a little, last week was just a challenge all the way around, not just with preparing for our move next year, and really getting the infrastructure in place, which is what we're doing, but also with Sadie. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. So lack of sleep, it's been quite a week last week. And we knew this going into this move and this preparation work. This is why we gave ourselves like a year and a half to really try to figure all this out.
I think you used the word overwhelming.
Yeah, I did. And overwhelming, the actual psychologists say that overwhelm, the actual definition of that is not being able to function. Like I just shut down there for a couple of days. And so it was really overwhelming for me. I don't use that word lightly, but our relationship, how strong it is, knowing what we want, we believe in manifesting. We know the work that we're willing to put in to get us to where we want to be. And actually, even in the hard times, trying to enjoy that journey, along the way, because it is all a part of it.
Right.
Nothing is just usually handed to us, right?
No.
We have to work for it.
Yes.
And we're willing to do that.
And working for it, I think we just talked about this a couple days ago. Working towards something and for something does not equal grinding at the equal amount. You can work towards something and be successful 10 hours a week, 5 hours a week, 20 hours a week, 100 hours a week. The hours that you put in do not equal your passion for it. They don't equal that you're better. All it is just your investment. Now, does that mean that if you put in 40 hours into something that you're going to get twice as much rather than putting 20? Sure, that might be a pretty close approximation. But it doesn't mean that you grind harder because you put in 40.
Right.
And that's our goal. Our goal is to be able to sit down at our laptops, knock out work based off of our schedule because we've put the pieces in place to be able to do that and then enjoy the life that we've created because of it. Right. We don't want to be 65 trying to climb a mountain and not making it.
I have to say, we're already living the life. We're just still here in Michigan.
We are. Like after this, we can choose what we want to do because we want to do it. Right. I could look in the camera and say, you know what, let's go to a movie, and we can do that. Or I can say, let's go work on our business processes, and we can do that. Or I can say, let's just go for a drive and check out the fall leaves, and we can do that. We can choose what we want to do because we're putting the pieces in place.
I do believe that's what you said to me the day you proposed. We're going to take a drive.
I did. I did. And we took a drive. We took a drive and started a journey.
And it's been amazing ever since. So we talked about like the emotional week that I've had. I don't know how it affected you, but we can go ahead and talk about Sadie real quick.
I'll tell you how it affected me. So you've learned this, and you probably know this pretty darn well. We're trying to make this not explicit, right?
Yeah.
We don't have to check the box on the podcast.
I don't know. It slips out with me.
Pretty darn well of how I operate on an emotional level. I process things differently.
Very differently than I do.
And so I'm the person what I want to do is I'm a solution provider. I want to create solutions, fix it. And when there's things I can't fix, I begin to shut down because I don't know what to do.
Right.
It's that, it's like a robot that's having an error. It just shuts down, doesn't know what to do. And so it's not that I'm not able to be emotional. I'm a very emotional person. Put on the Olympic commercials with it talking about, thank you, Mom. Holy cow, I fall apart. I'm very much an emotional person, but the way that I projected and demonstrated is different. And so you having this emotional roller coaster of a week has been not tough on me. It's been eye-opening, but I am learning how to process and know that there's times it's okay to not have a solution. Sometimes we just have to process. Sometimes we just have to understand. And then once we've done that, come back to the table and then figure it out.
Right. And
it doesn't have to happen instantly.
Wait. We have to wait if there's a doctor involved or something like that, which is what's happened. So Sadie she had her annual vet visit October of every year, same as always, on Thursday. And then by Friday evening around 4 or 4:30, we received the news that she was positive for heartworm. And I could not understand why, because religiously she takes her medication, the little chewy with HeartGard every month, same time every month. And so I lost it, was sobbing over this, talking with the vet, and what do we do next? What are our next steps? We get her prescription filled from Costco, and today we went back and now we have a plan in place and we know what to do. It is literally a 6-month adventure. I'll use that word with her, because Sadie, who has so much border collie in her, likes to play and run around, and she has the best personality. She's fun. She's funny. She gets the Zoomies every day and, all of her squeaky toys and things. So she won't be able to do any of that for 6 whole months. We have to keep her calm and quiet. So we're looking at how does this affect our exploratory trip to Colombia mid-February. We have to be in Florida for a few days at Christmas this year, where my son will come over and take care of her. So what does all of this look like? So tomorrow we start back to the vet, more blood work, starting the medication, so forth and so on. So it threw me for a loop. Plus, we were in the midst of these conversations about me coming on with Ever Studios and how is this going to work and the value that I can bring to the business, to your clients, so forth and so on. And it was a lot for me to process. I am a very emotional person. I like who I am. I'm good with it. Cried today again at the vet, teared up. It's just, I'm very attached to Sadie. And she goes everywhere with us. So crap, I'm going to cry. What does this look like? Does it set us back? I don't think so. We just have to rearrange some things. So for anybody that doesn't know, heartworm comes from a mosquito. And we have a trail right behind our condo. And every day, for the most part, I walk her on that trail. And this past summer, the mosquitoes were absolutely horrible. But here I thought, well, I never gave it a second thought because I'm thinking she's protected. So when I talked to the manufacturer of HeartGuard, thank God, they gave us a case number, and they're going to actually help pay for a lot of the costs, because this is about a $1,500 to a $2,000 procedure for her and treatment. But I also found out that it's not 100% effective.
Like a prophylactic, right? I mean,
Sadie.
I think this is part of what makes us the strong couple that we are, is that we see things from two totally different sides of it, right? Yeah. You could hold up a notepad and you see one side and I see the other side. And because we're great at communicating, we're able to demonstrate what we're seeing to the other person, and they're receptive to see it, which gives us a huge leg up because we're then able to see the full picture, right? And sometimes it's a multi-day process because we have to go through it, but we, in the end, see that other person's point of view. And I don't think we ever have just a agree to disagree. I think we truly want to understand the other person's point of view
and find a solution. Sure.
Yeah. So my side on this is, I think she's going to be great, whether she's under the care of us or whether she's under the care of Logan, because Logan loves her too.
Very attached to her.
But there's going to be protocol and processes, just like with anything, right? Having that, in the event of plan in place, right? Same thing with our clients. There's a plan in place in the event that something happens. So
she's bringing you her bone.
She's going to drop it on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to play. So at any rate, yes, it's been a tough week. But at the same time, it's also been a week that, is going to make us stronger. I think I mentioned this every episode. Sadie's very much a part of our life, so she's part of the podcast, including her
noises,
clickety clack, dropping her bone.
We have hardwood floors, so even though she gets her mani and petty every month, they still click clack across.
Yeah. So I'm very I'm very happy that it's us that's going through this, because I think we have the ability to get her to where she needs to be good. I think if it was, there might be some other folks who might not be able to handle this.
No. Yeah. How do you think we're dealing with the stress? Like, if other people are looking to move out of the country, you are going to have things pop up. If you do have a pet, even if you don't have a pet, like, you're still going to have things pop up throughout the year, or whenever you plan on moving. Even if you're a solo traveler and you're going somewhere as a digital nomad, I mean, your parents live somewhere, right?
So I haven't done a bonkers amount of research. You've done the bulk of the research and filled me in on what you've learned, which you understand to be important to me. And from what I've gathered so far, from the little bit I've done and what you've told me, a substantial part of the people who do this have saved and saved and saved and saved to live off of that nest egg, as opposed to setting up businesses to be able to fund that type of move.
Unless you're a digital nomad. That's exactly what they do. Yeah.
And then there's digital nomads, which are a different caliber, where they're employed by somebody in the US and given permission to work wherever,
or entrepreneurs.
Or they're an entrepreneur and they've let their clients know that that's what they're going to do. So, but our goal is to set up businesses and then remove ourselves from working inside of them so that we can just work on them and continue to make them grow.
Right.
So we're taking a similar digital nomad approach, but kind of a consulting of our businesses with the right people in place, so that if we want to take a week off, we can just take a week off and the businesses still go, right? So I think we're taking a different approach to this than some others. So I think the challenges that a lot of others have are not the same challenges we have. I think we do have some unique challenges by hiring a sales manager, by getting booth operators for our photo booth company and training them up, right? Because they can't do it today, but 3 months from now, they'll be trained up and ready to go.
Well, there's one guy that I know of. He had like a multi-million-dollar business. He sold it.
Right.
Sold the business. And then he and his wife, who they were living in Ecuador and have been for years now, started a YouTube channel, do a lot of affiliate marketing and all that kind of stuff, does a blog, blah, blah, blah. So, and his wife, I think, still works part-time for the company here in the States, maybe 10 hours a week. It's not a lot. But they are older but not nowhere near retirement.
Yeah.
So,
and part of what we're doing this is to document our journey, but also help folks who are in similar situations kind of see the blueprint that we're doing.
And knowing that you are going to have your challenges, but you can overcome them. You really can. And especially if you have a partner, I think part of that, just being very mindful and seeing that other person's perspective, like actually listening and slow down, right? I have a hard time with that myself, but slow down and make sure that we're really listening to one another and seeing what all the options are. You have to show me what the options are.
Yeah.
Is she back there?
I think that's everything we wanted to discuss today, right?
It wasn't a whole lot today, but really just making sure that we document the stressors, because it can be so exciting. And I watch these videos on YouTube or do my research around Colombia and all the different things and taking Spanish classes and all the fun stuff that goes along with it. But we also have to be very realistic and knowing there's some stressful stuff that goes along with that too.
Right.
And how do we accomplish that, and making sure that other people are aware of that. And we're just not those kinds of people that want to throw out the fluff. Right. We want to be real and genuine.
100%.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, we will see you all next week on Beyond the Desk. Have an awesome week.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.